Good morning, everyone. I have been talking on this book, Opening the Hand of Thought. This is my teacher's book and my understanding and practice of Buddha Dharma or Buddhism is based on this book. So I'd like to share my understanding of this book with people who practice with me at this temple. This morning, I started talk on page 12 if we have this book. If we have a copy of this book, please bring. I read paragraph by paragraph. First paragraph of page 12. What we call I or ego arises by chance or accident. So we just let go instead of grasping thought and I. When we let go of all our notions about things, everything becomes really true. This is the fourth undeniable reality, complete tranquility or Nehan Jakujo. It is also described as all things are as they are, or Shoho Jisso. Therefore, when we let go of everything, we do not create artificial attachments and connections. Everything is as it is. Everything exists in one accidental way or another. This is the present reality of life. It is the reality of that which cannot be grasped, the reality about which nothing can be said. This very ungraspability is what is absolutely real about things. In this section, he is discussing that Buddhist teaching is based on undeniable reality. There are, many things accidental. It might be happening in this way or that way, but and we grasp this way or that way based on our karma, or karma means our past experiences, and and yet, according to Buddhist teaching, we should live based on the reality as it is, before we clinging to my views or my way of thinking, my system value or my picture of the world. And he said, in Buddhist teaching, there are 4 points of undeniable reality. And first is suffering. Second is impermanence. And the third is egoless, or no substance. Nothing is fixed. And the fourth is Nirvana. Nirvana is tranquility. And in this particular paragraph, he starts to talk on the fourth point, Nirvana. As I always said, these 4 points are not 4 independent items, but this is one message from Buddha. That is, second and third is reality of all being, how things are. And yet, if we are ignorant of this reality of impermanence and egolessness, then our life became suffering. Even success, happiness, or joy is become part of suffering. And if we awaken to this reality and live based on this reality, our life become nirvana. So here, Okumura Roshi is talking about what nirvana is. And I think nirvana is not something we expect. That means nirvana is opposition of suffering, or suffering within samsara. But sometimes, or often, we kind of expect nirvana is a kind of stage of all our desires are fulfilled. So everything is joyful and pleasure. That is the opposition of suffering, but as I said, in the part of everything is suffering, that is part of suffering. I mean, happiness, joy, pleasure, that is opposition of something we don't like, we cannot enjoy, is a part of suffering according to Buddha's teaching. Because these deniable conditions are there, then opposite becomes suffering. So these two are actually one thing, two sides of one thing. Sometimes we have happiness, joy, pleasure, and sometimes we don't. And because of impermanence, we cannot stay this positive side forever. So we have to somehow go back and forth. That is what transmigration means. So happiness, joy, pleasure, opposition, that is opposition of suffering, pain, sorrow, sadness, are part of suffering. So nirvana is beyond this dichotomy of something desirable or not desirable, or something positive and negative. So actually, at least according to Dogen Zenji, the way things are, the way things really are, that is impermanence and egolessness, that reality itself is nirvana. So it is beyond the separation or dichotomy of suffering and not suffering, or something enjoyable or desirable and something not enjoyable and not desirable. We need to go beyond these dichotomies. That is nirvana. So nirvana is not something desirable. If we think nirvana is something desirable, then nirvana becomes part of samsara. We cannot reach nirvana, become suffering. So if we practice, if we study and practice even Buddhist teaching in order to reach nirvana, then we create samsara within this practice. I want to reach nirvana, but I cannot. I am out of nirvana now. That makes our life, our practice, suffering. And more often, we are out of nirvana. We feel we are out of nirvana, even when we are sitting in the zendo, like during sesshin, we are always kind of transmigrating from one, condition to another. And sometimes we really feel, our life is very quiet, settled down, no problem, and everything is so clear. But more often, we struggle with, pain and sleepiness and too many thoughts coming up one after another. So if we think nirvana is a condition, all those things are ceased, then nirvana is just an illusion. Unless we find nirvana right now, right here, in whatever condition, whether our condition is, painful or joyful, we need to find a peaceful foundation of our life. That is nirvana. So nirvana is not like a paradise, or like in Buddhist, teaching, not like a life in the heaven. Life in the heaven is still part of samsara. So nirvana is beyond suffering and pleasure. So nirvana is not something we can or we desire. Nirvana is not a condition our desires are fulfilled. But nirvana is a peacefulness on which we accept everything, including positive and negative, something very difficult and something very joyful. We accept everything as they are, and somehow we worked with that condition to, make this our life and this world or community or society, better or healthy place. So when we talk about nirvana, we need to make that point very clear. Nirvana is not like a paradise or heaven. First, he says, what we call I or ego means shohaku in my case, arised by chance or accident. I was born in Japan in 1948, so I'm a Japanese, and I was educated in Japanese way, and I became a Buddhist in Japanese tradition, and I became a priest. And somehow I came to this country, so I have to, live, do activities as a Buddhist priest, or I have to say Japanese Buddhist priest. So I try to do, my best, and yet this is conditioned. I didn't need to be born in Japan. I didn't need to become a Buddhist. That was my choice. My choice is based on accident. If I didn't read my teacher's book when I was a high school student, that was an accident. I never, interested in Buddhism. But, because of the kind of continuation of those accidents, then I became a Buddhist. I became my teacher's disciple. Somehow I came to this country. So now I'm talking about Okumura Roshi's teaching using my limited, poor English. Everything is kind of an accident. There's no way that I had to live this way. Now I can quit to be a priest. But somehow I don't. That is kind of accident. So, to be a priest or to be a Buddhist or to be a Japanese is not a undeniable reality. It's accidental reality. Therefore, what he said is, we just let go of, instead of grasping thought as me as a Buddhist priest, or even Shohaku is a kind of accident. But we somehow grasp, this is Shohaku, this is a Buddhist priest, this is a Japanese, and my way of viewing things is, Japanese Buddhist priest or Japanese Buddhist priest point of view. And if we cling to this, if I cling to this Japanese, what is the sound? Buddhist priest point of view, then I'm totally deluded. So we have to let go. And this letting go doesn't mean I have to quit to be a Japanese Buddhist priest. If I cling to, my view, my karma, or my, personal condition as absolutely right thing, then there's no way I can live together with other people who have opposite karma or different karma. All people who have different view, from my view, I have to, argue or fight, or I have to make decision to protect my view. I have to criticize others. I think they are wrong or they are strange. That is the way we create problems in our daily lives. So those views can be let go. So we let go. Then he said, when we let go of all our notions about things, what we think about things, our perceptions, then everything becomes really true. Everything becomes really true. I think this is kind of difficult to understand. Everything becomes true. What this true means. Usually true, the word true is opposition of false. But what is this, dichotomy, of true and false? And when, we grasp our view, Okumura Roshi said this is not true. But when we let go, everything becomes true. What this means? Okumura Roshi write, or speak or express Buddhist teachings without using Buddhist technical terms. He tried not to use technical terms. In Japanese Buddhism, Buddhist scriptures, sutras, and commentaries of Buddhist sutras were not translated into Japanese language. Can you believe that? We use Chinese. We read Chinese writings like Japanese, but we didn't translate each and every expression. So Zazen is Chinese, but we use Zazen as if Japanese, that is Japanese word. Or, Buddha is Sanskrit, or Indian word, and it's not translated, and it is used in China or Japan. Or Nirvana is Nehan in Japanese. Nehan is a transliteration, so it's not translated. We just use the Chinese word, Chinese Buddhist used as an equivalent of Nirvana as Japanese. So we don't really translate all those, foreign words used in Buddhism into our own language. So almost all Buddhist technical terms are Chinese. Even Wei is Chinese, Dao or Do. But Uchiyama Roshi, that condition lasted until, I think, last 20 or 30 years. I mean, these 20 or 30 years, Japanese Buddhist scholars trying to translate, Buddhist terms into modern Japanese. This is a first, attempt to try to translate Buddhist teachings into real Japanese. And when I read those translations into modern Japanese, it's really difficult to understand. To me, the traditional Buddhist term is more understandable. So Japanese is a kind of strange. When we studied Buddhism from China, we had to study Chinese language. And when we try to teach Buddhism to Western people, I have to study English. It's kind of strange, and I feel it's not fair. So I hope more American people study Japanese or Chinese to study English. Study Buddhism. Anyway, so Uchiyama Roshi tried not to use traditional Buddhist technical terms. So his Japanese is very, sound easy to understand, and people, think they understood it. But that is a kind of danger, even though he doesn't use a difficult word, but what he's talking about is a difficult thing. So one thing I can do is, because I studied Buddhism at university, my basic vocabulary is Buddhist terms. So what I can do is translate Uchiyama Roshi's expression using colloquial Japanese into Buddhist words. This is kind of opposite from, commonly people expect more colloquial expressions. But of course that is important, but it's also important to translate back to the traditional technical term and what Uchiyama Roshi is really trying to say. So here, he said, when we let go of all our notions about things, everything becomes really true. What this really true means. Later he introduced few of Buddhist terms like Jisso, Shoho Jisso, is Shoho is all dharmas. In this case, dharmas means all beings. And jit is true. And so is form. So, true form of all beings, the reality of all beings. So this, everything becomes really true, means everything reveals itself as its true form, the way it is. And that is, in Sanskrit word, that is tatata. Tatata. Tatata is translated as suchness or thusness. When we, encounter, for example, this one, we define what this is depending upon the sensation. We create a perception, the image of this being, and using our five skandhas, receiving the stimulation that is sense, and we have some sensation we receive from this being, and we create a perception, the image of this thing, and the fourth of five aggregate is formation. This formation is kind of very vague things. Formation include almost all our psychological functions. After we create perception, we evaluate, we define what this is, and we evaluate it, how important this is, or whether this is useful or not useful, and how valuable this is to me. And then finally we make a judgment, this is a blue marker, this can be useful for writing on the whiteboard when I give a talk. So this is useful. So we don't throw this away. We keep this. And when it, become dry up, this is not a blue marker anymore. This become a junk. So we throw this away. So when we call this thing as blue marker is how can I say, is an expression of relationship between this person and this being. And so when we call this, I call this a blue marker, this is another Buddhist technical term, this is namarupa. Nama is same as English word name. Rupa is material. By evaluating and defining what this is, I call this with certain name, and in this case, this is a blue marker, and I use this as a marker. This is namarupa, and it's okay, whether it's okay or not. That is how we use things. We encounter and evaluate and use or make choice whether this is a good thing or not good thing. That is how we live. But what Buddha taught is, as far as we live based on that kind of mental activity, this world become something valuable, useful, something not valuable, not useful, or some this part is positive, negative. This is how our life become dichotomies. And we try to, not try to, but we run after something we want, or something useful, something positive, and we escape from something which is not meaningful, valuable, or desirable. That's how our life becomes samsara. We are always chasing after something or escaping from something, and that is called samsara. And to stop this, running, is nirvana. And as far as we see things as nama-rupa, we don't really see the real reality of this being. When we call this a blue marker, this means this is still useful for me to write. And when this dry up, it cease to be a blue marker, but this become a garbage, and I throw this away. So when Okumura Roshi says, when we let go of all our notions, this notion is nama-rupa, and when we let go of these notions, this means we don't grasp this as a blue marker that is useful, but we let go. Then this ceases to be a blue marker, whether and it's not a matter whether this is useful for me or not. This starts to reveal as it is. It ceases to be, useful or useless or important or not important, but this becomes just as it is. This is what Okumura Roshi meant, everything becomes true. That means to see this as a blue marker is not really true. This is not really a blue marker. Blue marker is just a name of the condition of this being and the relationship between this person and this being. And when we sit facing the wall, we let go of all those things. Then, this start to be as it is. That is when, we try not to make connection or relationship with this one and this one, using our intellection. That is what this sentence means. Everything becomes really true. There's no difficult, words here in this sentence, but it's really difficult thing. Even if I, explain using those Buddhist terms, I think still it's difficult. This is a blue marker. That is true. That is not wrong, at least, in our conventional world. This is a blue marker, and this is a book, and this is what is this? A reading glass. This, in a sense, in the world created by our thinking, this is a blue marker, this is a pair of reading glass, this is a book, all are correct. It's not a mistaken view or mistaken judgment or knowledge. But, these are all nama-rupa. And when we let go of that notion or meaning or definition, then these things settle down as they are. I think it's intellectually, we can understand that, but so what? So what? And if, he's saying that is nirvana, do you really think so? That is nirvana. I think this is really interesting and very important point to understand, very essential point of Buddhist teaching. When we stop doing, things based on our thinking, our activity of our psychology, then everything becomes as they are. It reveals their own beings. So there are two kind of reality. One is reality created by our thinking. Another is reality before being processed using our intellection. And in Buddhism, this is called true or real reality. And this is a copy of reality. Or we should say, very incomplete copy of reality. Incomplete means there are many distortions. So there are two realities. One is reality we think it's real. And another is real reality before we think, before grasping, before judgment. I think that is important point, and that is what that reality before being processed by our human thinking is the reality Buddha awakened to. So we need to understand there are two kind of realities, or two layers of reality. And live based on our on the reality created by our thinking, then our life becomes suffering. And when we let go and try to awaken to this reality before thinking, then our life becomes nirvana. This is a very basic structure of Buddhist teaching in any tradition. So instead of what we think, we put more kind of a weight or value on negation of what we think. There's no way to express this, reality before thinking using words, because any words is thinking. That's why we use this kind of strange expression, such as suchness or thusness or tatata or as it is. All those words has no meaning. We use, not we, but in Buddhism or especially in Zen, we use this kind of meaningless word in order to show that reality before being processed, or in Uchiyama expression, being cooked, raw reality before being cooked using our mind. That reality and a copy of that reality, using our thinking mind. And our thinking mind is, based on or influenced by our like and dislike, or our, pleasant and unpleasant sensation, and our desire. That's why, the reality made up by in our mind is distorted. It is like, the earth has 3 dimensions, but the atlas or map has only 2 dimensions. It's flat. And I think the reality before thinking is like the earth itself. And the picture of the world we create in our mind is like a map of the earth. There are many different methods to make an atlas. But in whatever method we use, something is distorted. Like, the shape is really different. Especially in the center of the world, it's relatively accurate, but edge of the world is so distorted. Like Greenland looks bigger than United States, or the size is different. Shape is deformed, and direction might be different. So there's no way to really make a complete, perfect atlas on the flat sheet of paper. And the maps made within our mind is the same. Something is distorted, depending upon what we like and what we don't like, or what we are interested in or what we are not interested in. Things we like looks much bigger than as it is, and things which we hate also looks much larger than as it is, and things we are not interested in looks smaller, or even we don't see at all. That is, the picture of the world created in our mind, and we think that is real reality, and we make judgment based on that, incomplete copy of the world, and we think that is real thing, real reality, and yet that is not real thing. The real reality is beyond that kind of thinking. So awaken to that reality before being cooked by our thinking is tathata or suchness. And if we awaken to that reality and live based on that reality instead of like and dislike, then our life becomes nirvana. That is very basic structure of Buddhist teaching. That is what Okumura Roshi is saying. So what he's saying is very kind of essential point of Buddhist teaching. But if we read, this paragraph carelessly, it doesn't sound so important. That is a problem when we read his book. And he said, this is the fourth undeniable reality, complete tranquility, or nehan jakujo, the fourth dharma seal. And it is also described as all things are as they are. That is, the reality of all beings before thinking. Therefore, when we let go of everything, at least when we sit facing the wall in the zendo, we really let go of everything. We do not create artificial attachments and connections. So when we sit and let go, blue marker is not blue marker anymore. And, everything reveals the way they are. So it ceases to be namarupa. It become just as they are. No evaluation, no definition, no thinking. Actually, thinking is there. Even when we sit facing the wall, there's no object beside the wall. And yet, all different kind of thought coming up within our mind. And if we are careless, those thought or happening in our mind become the object. And we start to interact with those things happening in our mind. When we aware that we are interacting with those thoughts, then we stop it and return to this posture and breathing. And when we sit, we keep our eyes open. That means we don't sleep, and let go of whatever coming up. This letting go is really important point in our Zazen practice. By letting go, we return to that reality as it is. Even though thoughts are keep coming, when we let go and don't grasp, those thoughts coming up from our karmic consciousness is just, as always says, just a kind of idling. Thoughts are there. Thoughts are keep coming and going, but we don't think because we don't take any action based on those thoughts. At least when we are sitting and letting go, we are free from those karmic consciousness. And we do make any karma. Any karma means we don't take any action. When we don't take any action, we don't make karma. Karma means action. And we are really liberated from our karma. So Zazen is really Nirvana, even though it's very difficult and not so easy and not so enjoyable. It's different from drinking beer or or listening to music or having or watching a movie. It's not so interesting. It's not so joyful, but this Zazen is really liberation from our karma. That is Nirvana. So it's painful. And we are almost always struggling with busyness of our mind or sleepiness. And sometimes we feel this is hell, this is like hell. But this is Nirvana. It's kind of difficult to accept, this is Nirvana. This is enlightenment. This is a goal. So nowhere to go any further. So we need a faith. If we start to think in that way, then our Zazen become really difficult. So we need to let go of that kind of idea also. That kind of idea means we are already in the goal. We cannot expect anything more than this struggling in this posture. If we think in that way, sitting this way is really like a hell. So we need to let go of that kind of thinking also. So whatever thought coming up, just let go and return to really just sitting. This upright posture and deep and peaceful breathing, and keep our eyes open and let go of whatever coming up from our consciousness. That is Zazen, and that is Nirvana, at least according to Dogen and Okumura Roshi. Well, I want to finish this paragraph. Therefore, when we let go of everything, we do not create artificial attachment and connections. Everything is as it is. Everything exists in one accidental way or another, but we don't, grasp or evaluate or make judgment. They are just as they are. This is the present reality of life. So everything is accidental, is the present reality of life, reality at this moment. It is the reality of that which cannot be grasped. So we cannot grasp. Because we cannot grasp, we don't grasp. That is what opening the hand of thought means. Instead of grasping this as important or less important or no value, but we just open our hand. Then whether this is important or not important, whether this is joyful or not joyful, this is only reality at this present moment. And we don't need to escape from here. And we don't need to, chase after something else. That is, I think, the very peaceful foundation of our life. We don't need to chase after something or escaping from something. We can just sit down and settle down right now, right here. That is our zazen. So we don't grasp the reality about which nothing can be said. So we cannot say anything. This very ungraspability is what is absolutely real about things. So in our zazen, we don't. It's not a matter of we see that reality before thinking, because that reality cannot be the object of our action of seeing. So there's no separation between person sitting and the reality that is seen. That's why we cannot see it, we cannot grasp it, we cannot evaluate it. But we put our entire being, body and mind, on the ground of this reality before separation of subject and object, person who is thinking and evaluating and things that is being seen and being evaluated. This life becomes one seamless reality before any separation or discrimination. So basically, in this paragraph and next paragraph also, what Okumura Roshi is saying is this zazen in which we let go of all thinking is Nirvana. Do you agree with this? For many years, I didn't agree. I couldn't believe Nirvana should be much better thing, something much better and enjoyable. But if Nirvana is something better than this, then Nirvana becomes a kind of a goal, and we are not there. So our life becomes, running after that desirable thing. Then we completely miss the point of Buddha's teaching. So our practice is, no matter how difficult it is, we settle down right now, right here. Any question? please.
I have a question about the word accident.
Mm.
I'm wondering what he's translating there as accident. I heard it's like, it seems to have some connection with impermanence and egolessness. But the last time you said, everything exists in one accidental way or another, I thought, it sounds like he's using it in a place of interdependent origination. So,
well, this, the truth of accident in the word used in this book, and truth of in West. This is a term used in Western philosophy, not Buddhism. I think I talked this during the October retreat, and when I looked up a dictionary of Western philosophy, the explanation continue several pages. From Aristotle to Wittgenstein. All different philosophers have different idea about these two truths. And the English word used to refer to these two truths is truth of fact and truth of reason, or truth of, and it's a truth of fact is contingent. It can be different. And truth of reason is necessity. It should be always there, whether it doesn't depend on something else. That is what this word accident. So again, even when he used those terms in Western philosophy, he used a very kind of a colloquial language.
Right.
So unless we are careful, we miss what he's really discussing.
Okay. So accident refers to contingency or dependency, which is the teaching we have from Buddhism.
It may happen or may not happen, depending upon the causes and conditions. That is kind of a truth or reality.
Okay.
And another is like all living beings dies. This is unconditioned, always true. There's no way to counter-argue. Those are, two truths in Western philosophy, and two truths in Buddhism are different.
Thank you.
Okay. Please.
I have a question about the term beings. As you were talking about them today, like as in, Shohaku Jiso. Here at Okumura Roshi says, all things are as they are, and you also use the term, all dharmas are as they are, and then you use dharma as a synonym for beings. And I was wondering also, in Shobogenzo, different places, Dogen says, all inanimate and animate beings. And I think, in English, when we hear the word being, we usually think it always means living being. So I wonder.
Really?
I think so.
So this is not a being.
Yeah, and I was watching you point to
this is a thing.
Marker. So there must be some semantics.
So being and thing are different.
Being and thing are usually different.
Being is only living beings?
I mean, usually. I usually look at that.
Usually, if you call that a being, you would be suggesting you thought it had consciousness.
Oh, really?
Or was alive.
Or something.
So, in the case of dharmas, if the word dharma is used in a plural, this dharma includes really everything. include both living and non-living beings, sentient and non-sentient beings. Everything that is here, not here, but that exists, depending on conditions. So unconditioned thing, if such a thing exists, that is not dharma. Or we can say that can be dharma. So being is definitely only living beings. So when we say being are numberless, this means living beings are numberless.
That's where my
Sentient beings.
Sentient beings, living beings.
Right.
So when when Dogen used this word, Bampo, myriad dharmas, these dharmas include sentient and non-sentient, all things. So in this case, things is better than beings, as a translation of dharmas.
Usually when I read that and new translations or something about Dogen, when I see dharmas plural, like all myriad dharmas, I've seen a translation of the Sanskrit word dharma as phenomena.
Yes, phenomenal things, that is conditioned things.
That's usually what I think. But when I hear the English word being, my brain goes immediately to living being.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Just like in the fourth house, when we say beings are numberless, we kind of free them. These are.
The original word for this being is shujo. Shujo is living, really living, all living beings. So, in that case, being numberless is good.
Yeah. So
But
there's the
in the case of
evidence.
myriad dharmas, it's not only living beings. It includes non-living anything. Please.
I was just thinking, years ago, the earlier translations didn't say beings and numbers, that I remember. We learned it as sentient.
Sentient beings are numbers, right?
So they sort of,
Mhm.
explained.
But the person who want to make that translation from sentient beings are numberless to beings are numberless, the person wanted to include non-living beings. That's why the person took out sentient or living.
Oh.
So the person didn't know Buddhist English.
Well, maybe. Do you know this person?
The translator.
So the first time I heard Dogen's, that line about, all the reality, well, I think it's several places in Shobogenzo, but all inanimate beings, that really blew my mind. I was like, wow, inanimate beings. Because it almost sounds like an oxymoron.
Oh.
It almost sounds like an impossibility. Like, wow, inanimate being. That's deep.
Oh, that's interesting. So the myriad dharmas Dogen used in Genjo, in the beginning of Genjo Koan, should be things instead of beings, myriad things, or myriad beings.
If you say things.
Please.
In physics,
Mm.
aren't things animate too? All the atoms holding together?
Yeah, that is another point.
Well,
Does things include living beings?
Yeah, if you say
So,
things, I
just
don't
think
think
of
of
all
humans
things.
or.
Right.
Yeah, if you say all things.
Please. I'm sorry, please.
I feel that it's all it encompasses everything.
Beings? Which thing? Being, the word being?
You look at it
Mm.
from a different point of view,
Mm.
like physics.
Mm. Beings can include both living and non-living beings.
I think so.
Good. So we have to change the definition of word.
I don't think you need the word non-animate.
Mm.
The this is surely a lesson that it's just namarupa.
Yes.
Being
Yes. Yeah, we are looking for the
the right namarupa.
yeah right namarupa. Please.
I think it brings up this question, if we're saying all beings, including non-living or non-sentient beings, I vow to save, what does it mean to save a non-sentient
Right.
thing?
In the case of I vow to save, these beings. This is clearly living beings.
Uh-huh.
The original word is shujo,
Right.
not banpo. So in this case, beings means living beings or sentient beings.
But banpo would include both living and non-living?
Yes,
Okay, so it's clear in Japanese.
yes.
Thank you very much.
So which word I have to use for the translation of banpo, myriad dharmas? All things or all beings?
That could be a homework assignment.
Yeah, it's your homework, not my homework.
My opinion on that, if you want to be really clear, you would say all things, because I think when we say all things in English, we realize that it includes sentient and insentient beings. When we say the whole works, all things. A thing doesn't, if we just say that's a thing, we'll probably assume that it's an inanimate object. But if we say all things, in the way we say in Buddhism, I think we know that includes sentient and insentient beings.
Okay.
There's my input.
You are my teachers of English.